press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Okay, children. So we are almost at the end of the discussion of diffraction. We have already discussing about the wave optics. Meanwhile, concept of interference we have completed with, applications on interference we have done, and we are in the discussion somewhere related to diffraction. Fraunhofer diffraction we have studied in the previous session. Relatedly, two more points are left out I have mentioned as far as diffraction is concerned, and we will continue the same with polarization for the today's session. So, maximum we will try to have complete discussion on even polarization. If anything, if it is pending, we will look back into the next session even, or if it is required, we can extend at the end of the session if it is required. So, we will look at that. So, now coming back to the 2 points which are left out, that is limit of resolution and resolving power. Limit of resolution and resolving power of an optical instrument. Limit of resolution as well as resolving power, these two parameters we have to study. So, what actually these two terminology? Limit of resolution means what, and similarly what do you mean by resolving power of an optical instrument? Any optical instrument if you take, so like microscope or telescope if you take, okay, and even normal eye with which you are seeing the objects, right? Even for the eye, even for every object, there will be these two parameters related, limit of resolution as well as what? Resolving power. So, what exactly those terminology are? You might have seen on microscopes when you are going to watch in your bio labs, in the microscope you might have observed there might be small reading they would have written. So, what is that limit of resolution? Meaning LR value or RP value they will mention, RP so and so, LR so and so. What is the exact meaning of that? Optical instruments accuracy can be known, or you can say like whether it is a good optical instrument or not to measure so and so readings, whether it is capable or not. How you can decide? Based on the values of limit of resolution and resolving power. Okay. So, now we will study what is limit of resolution first, and these two are, there is a small relation between them. What is limit of resolution is inversely proportional to resolving power, or resolving power is inversely proportional to limit of resolution. So, once if you get the value meaning of limit of resolution, then we will see what is the meaning of resolving power. Generally, every optical instrument will be having an ability to view the two closely placed objects into two distinct objects. What do you mean by that? I am going to draw these two objects here like this. I think it is visible for you on the board now. Are you seeing them as two distinct objects, or you are seeing them as two closed objects? Can you differentiate them, or can you see them as two individual objects, or both are appearing for you at the same point? It do depends on the resolving power of your eye or limit of resolution of your eye, you can say. Okay. So, what is that meaning? So, I will say like, now I am going to place two more dots here like this. Now, you just tell me that these two objects which I have kept, no doubt I am going to have kept small two dots only here individually. Okay. So, these two dots appear as a single object for you or as two distinct objects for you. It do depends on limit of resolution of your eye. That is the meaning. We will come from the back how you have to, how you will see for this definition exactly. If your eye is able to view these, for example, distance between these two objects is some 1 millimeter, let me say. How much it is? 1 millimeter. Distance between these two small dots what I have kept there, right? Between them is 1 mm, I am going to say 1 millimeter. If you are able to see them as two distinct objects separately, right, let it be, let's say you are going to see them as two distinct objects. Now, I am going to decrease the distance between them for less than 1 mm. I am going to decrease the distance between the two closely placed small dots, right, two closely placed dots. I am going to decrease the distance between them to less than 1 mm. So then if you are not able to see them as two distinct objects, for example, if you are not able to see the two, if for example, if the distance between them is less than 1 mm, and if you are not able to see them closely, or if you are not able to see them as two distinct objects, let me say, and you can able to see only from 1 mm. If it is greater than 1 mm, definitely you can see them like this. The distance between them is greater than 1 mm, definitely you can see them as two distinct objects. But if the distance maximum, what is the distance you can have between them, or the least distance what you need to have between them, not to make them to see them as two distinct objects, means that distance itself we used to call it as the least distance of or limit of resolution, you can say. What do you call that as? Limit of resolution. For example, you can able to see the distance between them as 1 mm, for example. If distance between the two small dots is 1 mm and you can able to see from that distance, more than the distance, no doubt you can see them as two separate objects. If the distance between them is less than 1 mm and if you are not able to see them as two distinct objects, then we will say limit of resolution of this particular eye, what you are going to see. To see these particular objects, right, we will say limit of resolution, it will be equals to 1 mm we are going to mention. That is the meaning. Means limit of resolution, it is the least distance between two closely placed objects, least distance between two closely placed objects, to view them as two separate objects, to view them as what? Two distinct objects or separate objects. So what is the least distance you need to have between the two objects placed side by side to view them as two distinct objects? That itself we used to call it as limit of resolution of that particular optical instrument. For example, if you want to know the limit of resolution of your eye, let me say, you place two objects like this. Initially both are separated by some 10 centimeter, let me say. Then keep on decreasing the distance. Somewhere at a particular distance you cannot able to see them as two distinct objects, then that will be the least distance what you can see them, least distance between the two objects, for which your eye can able to resolve these two closely placed objects into two distinct objects. Then we will say that will be the limit of resolution of your eye. Got the point? See, for example, if your eye is capable of seeing 1 micrometer distance, even 1 micrometer means what? 10 power minus 6 meters. If your eye can able to see that closely spaced objects as two distinct objects, your eye is superpower, you can say. Means what? It all depends. Few people, even they have been placed like 2 centimeters distance also, they cannot view them as two distinct objects. Means what? The limit of resolution is very high. Limit of resolution is high. For example, 2 centimeters I will say. Limit of resolution is 2 centimeters means what? He can able to see the objects only if they are separated by a distance minimum of 2 and greater than that as two distinct objects. That is the meaning of limit of resolution. And resolving power means, remember, limit of resolution, it will be equals to reciprocal of resolving power. This is a formula which you have to remember with. This is a formula. If I say limit of resolution of an optical instrument is 1 millimeter, if I am going to mention, how much it is? 1 millimeter is what? Limit of resolution. Then what is the resolving power of that optical instrument? 1 by 1 mm. How much it is? 1 milli means 10 power minus 3. Gauss numerator means it will be equals to what? 1000. Resolving power is 1000, we will say. If it is of micrometer, micro means 10 power minus 6. Then it will become what? 10 to the power of 6. Means, what is the meaning here? Which optical instrument is said to be the best optical instrument? Means the one whose least limit of resolution is least. Least and least the value of limit of resolution, so good optical instrument it is to measure the measurements so accurately. If limit of resolution is more, right, then you cannot make, you can't measure the values which are very closer. If the objects are so closer, you can't take those readings if the limit of resolution is very high. That is why an optical instrument is said to be the better one if limit of resolution is least and resolving power should be high. What do you mean by resolving power as 1000? If you are going to see resolving power 1000 means what? Using that optical instrument, you can measure up to the measurement of 1 by 1000th of that meter. 1 by 1000 means what? Millimeter. You can measure up to millimeter distance. So that is the meaning of limit of resolution and resolving power, which you have to remember with. Limit of resolution is inversely proportional to the resolving power. More the limit of resolution, lesser will be the resolving power, or vice versa you can say. So that is a small relation you have to remember between what? Limit of resolution and resolving power. Now in almost all the optical instruments which you are using, particularly microscope, if you want to view the subatomic particles or anything like in the microscopic view like microorganisms, if you want to study for example whatever it might be. So let me say their separation is in micrometers distance. Their separation is what? Micrometer distance. They have given you one microscope whose limit of resolution is some 1 centimeter, let me say. Limit of resolution is what? 1 centimeter. Using that microscope, can you measure or can you study about microorganisms? Microorganisms whose sizes are less than micrometer, you can say. Their diameter will be less than micrometer. Can you study about the microparticles using that 1 centimeter limit of resolution? Is it possible? Means no. Reason for that is limit of resolution is 1 centimeter. That again means maximum I can measure up to what? 1 centimeter of the distance. Beyond that distance, if still smaller the particles are, that particular optical instrument or the microscope cannot be made used not to study that concept of not to study that microscopic particles of the size of 1 micrometer if the size, if it is right, then that particular microscope cannot be made use whose limit of resolution is of 1 centimeter. That's the meaning. So that's how you need to choose our optical instrument, whether it is good one or not, it is possible or not. So based on this you have to decide. This is all about the limit of resolution. If I say these are the two objects which are separated by certain distance d for example, right? And this is what your eye, let me say, unaided eye. This is what your eye through which you are going to see these two closely placed objects into two distinct objects. For example, if you are able to see them as two distinct objects, then this d is nothing but what? Limit of resolution in terms of distance. If you want to say in terms of angle, see, this is theta, this entire angle, if I say this is theta, this is also called as limit of resolution. Means what is the minimum angular separation at your eye for these two objects, that itself also you can call it as what? Limit of resolution. So keep this point in mind about if they are asking the problems, right? If you are able to see an object which subtends an angle certain theta at the center, right, of your eye, then what is the angular separation minimum you need to have, or you can also measure this limit of resolution in terms of theta also. This is the angle it has been made. This is the minimum angle what it is required in order to see these two closely placed objects. Just like minimum distance what you will say, no, like that minimum angle that is subtended at the center. So now if you write for two relations we are going to get here, or two formulas we have to remember for limit of resolution of a microscope and telescope. Two relations we are going to have, just have an idea of it. Remember for the formula, if A is the diameter of the lens which you are going to make use, diameter for telescope, let me write first, for very distant objects, then limit of resolution of that particular telescope it is going to be written as, or let me write for telescope, limit of resolution is going to be written as 1.22 lambda by A or D, whatever it is, where A is nothing but what? Diameter of the lens which it is going to be made used, diameter or aperture you can say, whatever it is. Lambda is the wavelength of light used in order to see that particular object, or you can say resolving power, it will be equals to how much now? Resolving power RP equals to, this is reciprocal of limit of resolution we have seen, that is nothing but what? A by 1.22 lambda. Just remember for this value, not to find out limit of resolution and resolving power of an optical telescope, if they are going to ask, this relation you have to remember. Similarly for microscope, if I write, for microscope, for competitive perspective only, they are going to ask the problems on this. Other than that, you can't find anywhere for theory part or anything. You just have an idea. For microscope, if I take, let's say this is what the microscope through which you are going to see the objects which are going to be placed very closely here, like this. Okay, and if I say this is angle beta, if I am going to mention, or this is vertex angle, and this is the diameter of the lens which you are going to make use, if I am going to say, and in this case limit of resolution it is going to be written as 1.22 lambda divided by 2 mu into tan beta. This beta is what? Vertex angle which has been made at this particular point, and this entire thing 2 mu tan beta, this term we used to call it as aperture, and lambda is what? Wavelength of the light used. So from this one, this is the relation for what? Limit of resolution. At the same time, if I want to find out resolving power will be equals to 2 mu tan beta divided by 1.22 into lambda. This is the expression for resolving power of a microscope, and limit of resolution of a microscope is 1.22 lambda by 2 mu into tan beta. Here mu is refractive index of the medium through which you are going to see that particular object. For example, your objective of your what is that microscope which you are going to, through which you are going to see an object is inside the water or in a liquid, let me say, then that liquid's refractive index to be taken. This is the semi-vertex angle which is going to be made at the center, and mu is the refractive index, lambda is the wavelength of light made used. Then how to write for limit of resolution of that microscope means, just remember this is 1.22 lambda divided by 2 mu tan beta, and resolving power is going to be written as what? 2 mu tan beta divided by 1.22 lambda. So remember for these two relations for telescope and microscope, limit of resolution of a telescope and limit of resolution of a microscope, to these two expressions if you are able to remember, right. So problems on them we will see how to solve for it, we will do that, and you just remember the meaning of limit of resolution or definition for limit of resolution. They may ask for 1 mark. Define the resolving power of an optical instrument, or define limit of resolution of an optical instrument. How to define? Limit of resolution is, it is the least distance between two closely placed objects, for which an eye can able to see them as two distinct objects, eye or an optical instrument, for which an optical instrument can be able to see them as two distinct objects. That's what least distance between them, between those two point objects, that itself we used to call it as limit of resolution. The reciprocal of limit of resolution is resolving power. So that is all about the limit of resolution and resolving power of an optical instrument, or about microscope and telescope, 2 points which you have to remember with. Nothing to bother much about this particular part. More about diffraction, and that too in diffraction also I stretched much more on, and single slit diffraction, in that particularly how to find the angular width and linear width of central maxima. So that point is bit crucial which you have to learn with. Next, there is one more point to be learnt here itself I will mention, validity of ray optics. So this is important relation or general knowledge you need to have, validity of ray optics or wave optics. Validity of ray optics or wave optics, anything you can say, ray optics or wave optics, means which and all the cases you can apply the concept related to this ray optics, and where and all you can apply this concept related to the wave optics, up to which extent you can apply this wave optics. Means here in terms of validity, if I want to mention, I can mention in terms of the wavelength of light used. One is in terms of what? Wavelength of light used. The other one is size of the object, and the other one is distance between screen and the object. Distance between what? Object and the screen. All about the phenomena which we are studying till now, just like reflection, refraction, interference, diffraction, right, and even like dispersion, anything you take, any kind of optical phenomena we are studying, light ray should interact with certain object. Object might be anything. What might be the object? Like a lens it might be, like a mirror it might be, okay, or it might be like anything like a dust particle which I have mentioned, or a small hole through which, orifice through which the light is making to pass through, like diffraction where it has been taken place we have seen. Interference, size of that small hole, how it is going to be, it depends on the size of those, right, intensity, how it depends based on the size of those holes, or even like diffraction phenomena, there also we have studied how the light it is going to be. Knife edge if we take, any sharp edge if you take, these are all the objects through which the light is interacting. Okay. So, the light which is interacting with an object, in which case the validity ray optics is going to be valid, or in which case we can have the validity of wave optics. Means, remember always, if the size of the object is very high compared to the size of the or wavelength of the light used. What is this? Size of the object. Remember this, size of the object, size of object, and this is wavelength of light used, wavelength of light used, and this is distance between object and the screen, distance between object and the screen, object and the screen, distance between what? Object and the screen. So, wave optics is going to be only for if the size of the object or obstacle or anything you say, size is very much less in comparison to wavelength of light used. If the size of the obstacle, if it is very less in compared to what? Wavelength of light used, in such case we are going to have wave optics validity. And ray optics is going to be valid only if size of object is greater than or equals to or greater than wavelength of light used, wavelength of light used. That means you can say like there is a small relation for this like b square by L into lambda, b square by L into, or you can say like b square by lambda should be much greater than b square by L, I'll write, b square by L should be much greater than wavelength of light used, or you can say like from this you can say b square by L lambda should be much greater than 1. This is for the what? Validity of ray optics. This is what? Validity of ray optics. Important, directly as a 4 options they will ask that. Validity, ray optics is valid for the following conditions they will ask. Validity of what it is? Ray optics. Ray optics. And whereas if I want to say wave optics should be valid only if size of the object which you are going to make use should be incomparable with the wavelength of light used, or it is almost equal to or less than the wavelength of light used. Then you can say b square by L lambda, b square by L lambda should be less than or equals to what? 1. This is validity of what? Wave optics. This is validity of wave optics. Wave optics. You have to remember. B square by L lambda is less than or equals to, it should be less than or equals to 1 means what? B square should be less than or equals to wavelength of the light used. Less than or equals to means what? It should be incomparable with the size. It should be incomparable. Like small example I will give. See, I told in the phenomena of diffraction when it is taking place through the atmosphere, when the light is coming through, right? You can see some phenomena that have been taken place there. Okay, so there what is happening through a small dust particles, the light is going to undergo deviate from its path. So that is once again what? Diffraction phenomena, right? Diffraction is what? Wave optics, wave optic phenomena, right? Here in case of ray optics, size of the obstacle, like lens, if I take object, lens, size of the lens is very much high compared to, it will be in terms of centimeters or meters, wavelength of light it will be in angstrom or nanometer it is. So that means size of the object which I am going to consider should be much high compared to what? Wavelength of light used in order to make, sorry, okay, this is for what? Ray optics validity. Okay, and similarly for wave optics validity, b square by L lambda, the size of the obstacle or size of the object should be much less than or equals to what? Or incomparable to the wavelength of light used. This is all about the validity of optics, where and all you can make use of which optics which you have to remember with. Okay, so that is about the validity of ray optics as well as validity of what? Wave optics, 2 points which you have to remember with. See, that's all with diffraction what we have learned, and these are the points related to the diffraction you have to remember. And next we will move on to polarization. Polarization. See, in the beginning of the sessions itself about wave optics, when I had an introduction, so by the time when we are discussing about different theories of light, when we are discussing, I mentioned already about, by the time when I have mentioned about electromagnetic wave, I given the concept of polarization. What do you mean by polarized light? What do you mean by an electromagnetic wave? We have studied. I told you at the time when I mentioned the electromagnetic wave definition, or you can say like about electromagnetic wave, whenever I have mentioned the importance of this polarization or how actually the polarized light you are going to have, we have studied. Okay, so that is a base which you have to take not to study this concept of polarization. If you have understood what you mean by an electromagnetic wave, then polarization is nothing. It will be very easier to understand, and it is easy to take it is easier to carry forward if you are aware of polarization, what it is, right? Now we will study this concept of polarization. Polarization, yes, you can make use. Polarization or polarization, I think. Okay. What do you mean by polarized light? You are aware an electromagnetic wave supposed to have, when it is propagating, particles in the medium supposed to have vibrating in two mutually perpendicular planes. Two mutually perpendicular planes, you know, that is one we used to name it as electric field vector, the other one is magnetic field vector, and perpendicular to the propagation of both of these two directions, right? That is perpendicular to the vibration of these two planes, we are going to have direction of light. Direction of light is perpendicular to both the planes. For example, one particle is vibrating in x direction or along x axis, and one direction is along y axis, if I say, and direction of light direction of propagation of that electromagnetic wave, that is speed of light, will be along z direction. So that is about the electromagnetic. When it comes to the concept of electromagnetic wave, so you have one separate chapter, electromagnetic waves. So there in depth about all the points about the equation of an electromagnetic wave, about all the other points also we have to study. We will see when we used to have the discussion on that, we will come back and we will study for that what is an electromagnetic wave and what properties are related with those, what does that electromagnetic spectrum do consists of, and all other points we will see by the time when we are discussing about the electromagnetic waves. So as of now, polarized light in the sense, what do you mean by unpolarized light? An unpolarized light is nothing but an electromagnetic wave which is having the particles of the medium vibrating in two mutually perpendicular planes. I will say these arrows, these particles are vibrating in this plane. If I am going to say one more particle is going to be vibrating perpendicular to the plane, like it is going to be having both dot component as well as arrow component. Arrow component means plane of vibration is board, means particles are vibrating in this plane. Dot component dot component means particles are vibrating perpendicular to the plane, means this is the plane through which the particles are going to be vibrating, means they will be moving into the board, they are going to be coming out of the board. So that is the one plane where particles are vibrating, this plane, and one more plane is this one. So how these two planes are now? Perpendicular, right? So these two planes are going to be perpendicular to each other. So one is which one? So this is one plane, right, where the particles are vibrating. This is one more plane. How these two planes are perpendicular to each other, right? So now this is a representation of unpolarized light. Remember this. How to represent an unpolarized light means representation of unpolarized light. Unpolarized light. Unpolarized light. Remember this point. How to represent polarized light now? So now before going for that representation, so we will see the definition of polarization first. So what do you mean by polarization? This is the method where particles of the medium are made to confine to vibrate in single plane. What is that? Generally unpolarized light will be having the particles vibrating in two mutually perpendicular planes. Somehow if I am going to make one of the plane of vibration to remove, then we are confining the particles to vibrate to what? A single plane, means particles of vibration of the particles are confined to what? Single plane. So then that particular light we used to call it as polarized light. Polarization is the phenomenon of making particles of the medium to vibrate or confined to single plane. Vibration of particles of a medium are confined to single plane for a light, right? So then the light is said to be what? Polarized light, and that method of converting an unpolarized light to polarized light we used to call it as what? Polarization. It is a phenomenon where unpolarized light gets converted into polarized light. What do you mean by polarized light? Unpolarized light means the particles of vibration are having confined to what? Two mutually perpendicular planes, wherein you are going to convert that unpolarized light to polarized light means you are making the particles to vibrate and confined to what? Single plane. So then that light we used to call it as polarized light. So now how to represent polarized light? Tell me now. A representation of polarized light. Now polarized light means in how many planes particles are vibrating, in how many planes? Vibration of the particles are confined to what? Single plane. Either they will be vibrating in this plane, means in the board, or this is one way of representing what? Polarized light. Another way of representing polarized light, it's not like only this, always it should be the polarized light. Particles may also vibrate perpendicular to this plane also, right? They are what? Dot components. See, if you have understood the concept of this electromagnetic wave, when I recalled, if it is not, please go back to the first session where we have studied about an electromagnetic wave, different theories of light when we are studying after Newton's corpuscular theory, and then Huygens wave theory, and then I have mentioned about electromagnetic wave theory. There I have clearly mentioned what is an electromagnetic wave. First of all, if you are having an idea of wave, what do you mean by the disturbance created in the medium? Means particles start to vibrate in the medium, that itself is propagating in the form of what? Wave, we used to say. That vibration of the particles in that medium itself we used to call it as wave. Now, how the particles of the medium are vibrating? Generally mechanical waves, that is transverse or longitudinal, you know. Electromagnetic waves means particles in the medium start to vibrate confined to two mutually perpendicular planes. We named them as, one is electric field vector, the other one is magnetic field vector. So if somehow if you are making these particles to confine to single plane, actually electromagnetic wave or any light wave, right, supposed to have vibrations in two planes. One plane is this, the other one is into the board. Okay. Somehow I am going to remove one of the plane. Let me say particles are confined to what? The single plane now. This method we used to call it as what? Polarization. That is a process of converting unpolarized light to what? Polarized light. What is happening there? Phenomena, what it is taking place? We are making particles to vibrate to confine to what? Single plane. So that process or method of conversion of that vibration of particles from two mutually perpendicular plane to what? One mutually perpendicular plane is what? Polarization. That's what you have shown. This is what one way of representation of polarized light. This is another way of representation of polarized light. This is completely plain polarized light. And the plane in which this polarized light is going to be present. This is what? Polarized light now? Yes or no? This is the polarized light. The plane where this polarized light is going to be present, that is called plane of polarization. What do you call that as? Plane of polarization. So remember, this is one more term you have to remember, plane of polarization. What is the meaning of this? Plane of polarization means a plane in which the particles are vibrating for what? Which light? Polarized light. Particles of the polarized light are vibrating in one plane. In which plane they are vibrating is said to be plane of polarization. For this arrow mark which I have written, right, plane of polarization is this board. Why? Because all the particles are vibrating in this plane, board is the plane I have taken. So this is the plane of polarization for this one. What about the plane of polarization for this dot components here? For dot components, plane of polarization is this one, perpendicular to this board. Means they are vibrating in this particular plane. That's why this is the plane of polarization for what? Dot components. Why? Because they are coming out, they are going in. In which plane? This is the plane where the particles are vibrating. Which particles? Dot particles are vibrating. These dot components of polarization are vibrating in this particular plane. This is the plane of polarization for dot components, and the board is the plane of polarization for what? Arrow components. Please keep it in mind about what do you mean by plane of polarization, and also what do you mean by polarized light, and what do you mean by unpolarized light. There is also one point called partial polarization, representing partially polarized light. Partially polarized light. How you can say the particles are partially polarized means? Partially polarized means it's not completely dot components you are having, or not completely arrow components, or you can't say like both of them are not having there. So it's like a few arrow components I am having, along with some dot components also we are having like this. So like this. Is this light polarized here? It is having both dot components as well as arrow components. Both arrow and dot components we are having here. That's why this light is partially polarized. Partially polarized. Why? Because it is having, it's not like all completely polarized here. Why? Because unpolarized light, in the sense it should have both at the same instant, it should have both dot as well as arrow components. Here we are having what? A few of the arrow components and few dot components. Separately we are having two different planes. You can say this is partially polarized light. Okay, somehow you can able to remove these vibrations which are confined to this plane, for example, then we will say that is polarized light. If somehow if I am going to able to remove these arrow components, then particles of the medium are vibrating confined to what? One plane itself, only dot components are having, then that is what? Polarized light. So I hope you got some clear idea on what you mean by polarization. Polarization means if you are able to make that particles to vibrate in a single plane. So what are the methods we are having in order to achieve so? So that is we have to study. I hope you got all the points related to how to represent unpolarized light, polarized light and partially polarized light, and hope you got what you mean by plane of polarization even. So now see what is happening to the polarized light intensity. If I say I naught is the intensity of unpolarized light, what is that? I naught, if I say, is what? Intensity of unpolarized light, and what happens to its intensity after it has been polarized? Means half the intensity is being reduced, half the vibration is going to be taken place, either electric field or magnetic field. Only one electric or magnetic field vector only is left out. Means somehow I am going to eliminate one of the plane of polarization, or sorry, one of the plane of vibration. So means what? Then intensity of polarized light become what now? Intensity of polarized light will be half the intensity will be have taken, one of the plane we have taken out. Actually it is vibrating in two planes. Two planes will contribute for what? Total I naught. Each plane will contribute for what? I naught by 2. One of the plane has been taken out. Remaining is how much then? Will be I naught by 2. Just keep this point in mind. What is that? If I naught is the intensity of unpolarized light we are having, then after polarization, then what is the intensity that we are supposed to have? I naught by 2. I'll ask a small questions here now. To confuse, they'll ask in this way. What is that? A polarized light is having an intensity of I naught. What is the intensity of polarized light? I naught. Then what is the intensity of unpolarized light? We are supposed to have corresponding light for that, means double that of the value. Means if I naught is unpolarized light, if I naught is what? Polarized light, we are having intensity of polarized light, then how much is the intensity of unpolarized light we are supposed to have? Double the value of this. Means unpolarized light supposed to have how much? Unpolarized will be of 2 I naught. That's why polarized is having I naught. If unpolarized is I naught, then unpolarized is I naught, then polarized will be having how much? I naught by 2. So this is about a small confinement related to what? Unpolarized and polarized light what we are having, which you have to remember with. Okay, intensities. And next, we have to study something about methods before going for what do you mean by polarizer and what do you mean by analyzer. I'll just mention polarizer is a device which converts an unpolarized light to polarized light. Okay. Analyzer means, analyzer is a device which just identifies in which plane the polarization is taking place, or plane of polarization can be identified by what? A device called analyzer. Polarizer is a device which used to polarize the unpolarized light. Unpolarized light, when I am going to pass through a polarizer, it just polarizes the unpolarized light. Meaning is, unpolarized light means two planes are there, vibrating particles in two planes. When I pass through this polarizer, what happens? After coming through this, the light which is coming out of this polarizer is what? Confined to what? Single plane. Particles are vibrating confined to what? Single plane. That is about polarizer. Analyzer means it's a device used to analyze. Now this is unpolarized incidented here, no doubt it is passing through this, and now light whatever we are getting is polarized light, but whether this light is in which plane the particles are vibrating, if you want to identify, then we need to have what? Analyzer. That we will study. What do you mean by analyzer? We will see later. We will study about that polarizer and analyzer later. So now, as of methods of polarization, we will study. Methods of polarization. How can you polarize unpolarized light to what? Polarized light. What are the different methods we are having not to polarize and unpolarized light? In that, firstly, we are having different methods, like by the method of scattering, by the method of reflection, by the method of refraction, by the method of double refraction, right? These are all the methods we are having. One is by the method of scattering. In this important, which are that we will study, scattering, by the method of scattering. Next one, refraction. Next one is double refraction. And the other one is reflection. This is important, which we have to study. Reflection, by the method of what? Reflection. Scattering. So what is the phenomenon of scattering exactly? Scattering means what? Meaning, like might have studied already, like scattering of light takes place, or you just tell me what is not, you can't say. Scattering means difference is there between scattering and collision. Scattering and collision, what is that? Collision means physically two bodies are going to interact. When one body is going to interact with the other, right? So then that phenomena which is taking place, both the bodies are moving towards each other or away, or when one is at rest or whatever it is, this is called physical interaction. If it is there between two bodies, then that phenomenon is said to be what? Collision. Scattering means, generally if I am having some dust particle, when a light ray is made to be incidented on this light ray, when it comes to the vicinity of this particle, vicinity means nearby area or nearby region, when no need to have a physical interaction between this light particle and this dust particle. Keep this point in mind. When you are talking something about scattering, there is no requirement of physical interaction between the two particles which are undergoing scattering phenomena. Scattering is a phenomena where within the vicinity of this particle, vicinity means what? It is going to be having its own area region, right? Within this region, if any light particle is going to be formed, right, this light gets scattered away or gets deviated from its original position or whatever it may be. If it is already moving, it may move in different directions or whatever it may be. So this is called scattering. What do you call this phenomena as what? Scattering. Whenever light particles which are going to be coming nearer to the now let me say this is an unpolarized light which is going to be incidented here. Unpolarized light means it is having both dot as well as arrow components. If such light is going to be incidented, for example on certain material, let me say, so the particles of this medium get scattered away. Now the scattered light will be having plain polarized light, means this will happen only in certain kind of object, certain kind of particles when they are going to interact, right, it is going to happen. So this phenomena we used to call it as what? Scattering by the method of what? Polarization by the method of what? Scattering. Okay. So polarization by scattering means whenever light of certain suitable unpolarized light is made to interact with certain particles, then the scattered light undergoes scattering phenomena. The scattered light is supposed to have the vibrations confined to the single plane. So there are some characteristics which is beyond our text, not required, you just have an idea. Whenever these light particles are going to interact with certain particles, or there any dust particles or certain material, right? So then the light gets scattered because of these particles in its path. So now the scattered light is supposed to have vibration of the particles confined to the single plane. Hence that scattered light is said to be polarized light. That is, by the method of scattering, how you can have what? Polarization. But it is not in depth we are going to discuss about it. It just a definition we are going to say what do you mean by polarization by the method of scattering. Nothing to bother, you just have an idea of it, that's all. That is beyond our text, not required. And now we will see for refraction. You know what do you mean by refraction, right? When light is made to incident on a refracting surface. Refracting to surface means what? It should undergo what? Refraction. Means a transparent medium we need to have. Let's say the light ray is going to be, this is what the refracted light ray. This is the refracted light ray we are having. Now, few substances or few refracting surfaces or few transmitting surfaces will be having certain characteristics that whenever a light ray is going to be incidented here, now this refracted ray is supposed to have the particles vibrating confined to what? Single plane. This incident light supposed to have vibrations confined to how many planes? 2 planes. What do you call this light as? Unpolarized light. When an unpolarized light is going to be incidented on certain refracting surface, then the refracted ray in this medium supposed to have the vibrations confined to the single plane. So then that light we used to call it as, that particular method of, this is refracted ray is undergoing polarization, right? Means what? Refracted ray is having the vibrations confined to the single plane. Not all the materials supposed to have this polarization by refraction. Just any some glass, if I am going to incident the light, it may not have the polarization, the light which is going to undergo refraction, right? It may not supposed to have the vibration confined to the single plane, means it may not have undergone polarization. Only this is a special characteristic property of this material, a refracting surface or transparent medium, which is making the light to undergo refraction, right? So only the characteristic property of that material, only certain crystals in depth, if you want to say, right? Crystals, certain crystals will be having that characteristic property. So in order to make this unpolarized light to what? Polarized light by the method of what? Refraction. Okay. So this is by the method of what? Refraction, how you can have the polarized light. You just have an idea. And few times, you know, after passing through this, there are still some arrow components present, for example. No doubt it is partially polarized now. Means there are dot as well as arrow components. Somehow I have removed some of the arrow components there, right? More of dot components we are having, a few arrow components we are having. After passing through one of the plate, if it is not completely polarized, we are going to take pile of double refraction, or we can also call it as pile of plates. Pile of plates concept is like thin glass plates are going to be placed one over the other. Very thin glass plates are going to be placed one over the other. So if you place one over the other, what happens, tell me? No doubt here the light undergoes refraction again, right? So once again, if it is coming, the light which is coming out of this glass plate, you know, it may be undergoing completely polarized. Means what? Only dot or only arrow components might be present here. Or a few times if it is still an arrow component is present, let me say, one more glass plate is going to be taken after passing through this. If it is having only dot components, so like this, till you are going to obtain complete plain polarized light, you know, these number of plates are going to be placed one over the other. That is called pile of plates, or you can also say double refraction. So this is the method where you are going to have polarized light by the method of what? Pile of plates, you can say. Number of plates, we are going to, in case of pile of plates, concept is what? A refraction phenomena only it is going to take place, but it is passing through different layers of the material there. So somehow if it is not able to completely polarize by just one plate itself, you are going to make the light, finally the light which is coming out of this all the pile of plates which is going to be taken, right, that is said to be polarized light. So this is one method where you can have what? Plane of polarization or double refraction. This is one method. next this is very important. What is that? Reflection. Just have an idea, look back this. You have to study more points in depth about this. One special law we will get here, that is Brevister's law we have to study. Just a minute. Okay, so anyway, 50 minutes. I will continue the same in the next session then. What is polarization by the method of reflection? I will just come back to this in the next session. I will confine this session for today's thing. We can't continue for this, so that other topics are going to be ended up. So that's why I am going to have the discussion related to the reflection, polarization due to reflection, as well as some other Malus law will get, as well as Brevister's law, 2 points we have to study. So based on that, how we need to find the intensity in different cases, that part we have to study. So that I will discuss that in the next session. Probably the theory part completely with the next session. We have taken 8 sessions there. Probably with one more 9 sessions we are going to wind up with complete wave optics. Problems to be solved, that I will discuss from the other sessions we will going to come. By the time when we are discussing the points related to the numericals, when I am discussing, right, at the same time we will go on for all the points even for competitive perspective, which are all it is mentioned. In most of the points for interference, most of the points for competitive perspective from wave optics is from interference. I mentioned stretched more of the points there. And even from diffraction, from only one point you are going to have, or you can say 2. One is on resolving power and limit of resolution. The other one is angular and linear width of central maxima, how you have to find out. Or minima condition, based on that, how the problems they are going to ask, we will study them even. And coming to the polarization based on Malus law. Polarization, Malus law, that next session which I am going to discuss with, right. So there we are going to have a complete in detail discussion on how we need to find out the intensities. Based on that, the problems they are going to ask, that is so important. So that I am going to discuss in the, if I start now, it won't be completed. That's why I am going to have the discussion that in the coming session. Fine. I am going to wind up for today. I hope you got all the points. Remaining things we will study them in the next session. Fine. Thank you.